Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing today?
Not bad. Just got home from school. Pretty good day.
So we have 2 weeks left now in the regular season now, and the play-ins are starting soon. The play-ins start April 17th, I believe.
Seems like the plans are pretty stacked this year. Like a lot of teams I had that were probably like the favorites are just in the play-in, like in the West, like Lakers, Suns, and Golden State just on the 10th spot. Like I think those are all like teams that could make a push for like actually deep into the playoffs. So I think that's gonna be pretty exciting. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen there.
Okay, so whoever wins Warriors versus Lakers first is the Thunder in the first round. So I think that okay, because it might be a really close game between the Lakers and Warriors at the plans because they got LeBron, they got AD, they got D'Lo, they got Reeves. Reeves is really good in clutch time moments. Also, Curry is also really good in clutch time moments. So Curry might have like hit a clutch time buzzer beater, or maybe Clay will hit a clutch time buzzer beater. Andrew Wiggins might hit a clutch time buzzer beater. So it really depends on like what kind of game they're having and what kind of defensive strategies are going to go into the play-ins. What do you think about the Lakers versus the Warriors?
Well, I'm pretty biased. I got the Lakers winning that series because that's my team. But I'm not sure. I think the Warriors, I haven't been really keeping up with their games closely, just kind of watching the standings and highlights. But they've been kind of a different team this year. I know last year in the playoffs, it was kind of like a scary matchup between them. Like it went pretty like close games. But for something tells me that like I think the Lakers are going to get the job done in that series. But you never know, like you were saying, like Curry is still Curry, so he could step it up. But yeah, I do have the Lakers winning that, I believe.
Yeah, I got the Lakers too because like LeBron, he's gonna turn on playoff mode. He's gonna be on playoff mode now.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna turn it on. He doesn't want to go another year without being in the playoffs, right? So he wants to go and he wants to beat the Warriors. So, but I think, as you said, the Lakers might win, but I think it might be a tight game still. I might go to on the last possession.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
thing
for
with
sure.
the 76ers and the Heat. Still, I think Embiid's still injured, right? So
He
that
is,
might
yeah.
be that might be a lead for Miami to pick it up and get the job done and get to the seventh seed and versus the Bucks first round
Mm-hmm.
because Miami's got Tyler Hero. They don't have Kyle Lowry anymore. Now, Kyle Lowry is a 76er now. Still got Jimmy Butler. Still got Bam Adebayo. They got those problem players. Like, Bam Adebayo is a really good defensive player. Tyler Hero is a good offensive shooter. And Jimmy Butler is a really good defensive and really good in the paint. What do you think about Miami versus the 76ers? Do you think Miami's got it in the bag? Or do you think the Sixers can come back and beat them in the play-ins?
Well, I think without Embiid right now, I think Miami would take that series because the Sixers have been dropping out the standings without him. But I actually just seen a report today that Embiid's expected to come back this week already. So I think the Heat's gonna be out of luck there. Like he was playing at like MVP like caliber all season. So I don't see how the Heat are gonna like be able to contain him. Or I mean, with him coming back this week, like you never know. Like they could be rushing it for the play-in. So you never know. It could be like he could still get injured in that series. You really never know. But I think healthy Embiid, I don't see the Heat having much chance. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because if Embiid's healthy, 76ers have a chance to beat Miami. But without Embiid, the Sixers could still probably beat Miami. But it's going to
Yeah,
be a hard, tough fought battle between Miami because Miami's got good shooters, good defensive stats. They got all around perimeter players. And it's just going to be really hard for the 76ers to defend that.
I totally agree. I think it would be a really good series. No Embiid, I think it'd be a good series still. But I think Miami would take the edge over them. But I think the fact that it's a close series, even without Embiid, I think with him it's going to be a clean
Mhm.
favorite to the Sixers, I believe.
So if Embiid comes back and he's good, and then no other injuries occur, then it could be a tense game.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So a Bulls versus Atlanta. Atlanta's got Trae Young, right? And they got really good. They got really good shooters. But Zach LaVine's been injured, right? So that might cost the Bulls in the long run. What do you think? Who's gonna win the play-in series between Atlanta versus the Bulls?
I think that's going to be probably the best one yet. Those are two teams I haven't really been watching too closely at all, really, even highlight. But I think like they're pretty evenly matched up, like both kind of the same amount of depth, and I think it could be good. I think no Levine, I didn't know that. I think if Trae Young plays to his best, I think the Hawks should be able to take it. But that's a tough one. That's going to be a hard one to predict. I think it really just depends on some of their role players to step up and see if Trae Young can stay consistent. But Noah Levine might be really hard for the Bulls. I think I don't see them. I'd be very surprised. I think the Hawks would have to lose it for themselves for the Bulls to take it with that injury.
That is pretty true because if I was Zach LaVine, the Bulls can still put on the show, but can it bring them to the playoff seed 8? That is the moment of truth. We'll have to figure out ourselves later on. Okay, now going to the Kings versus the Suns. I think the Suns are gonna take that one just because they kind of got a super team going on there. They got Kevin Durant, they got Devin Booker, they got all sorts of good players on that team. They got De'Aaron Fox, they got Sabonis, but De'Aaron Fox is really good when it comes to clutch time. Like he's like the fastest player in the league. They said he's like really fast on offensive transitions. But coming down to like who's gonna get into the 7th seed, I feel like that Devin Booker and his team are gonna take it and get to the 7th seed. What do you think?
I think it's a good series. Like I totally see what you mean. Like the Suns on paper, they do look really good, but they haven't been, I feel like, having the best season that everyone expect them would. Because like at the beginning of the season, like with the addition of Beal too, like I thought they were going to be the top of the league, but they had some problems with depth. I think this year they kind of invested in their 3 guys, and the West, honestly, there's really not a bad team in the West. Like the only team I could like the Pelicans, they kind of snuck up there. But I'm sure like they're pretty good. I haven't been really watching them, but like a lot of teams, like the West is really stacked this year, and it's going to be really interesting. It's tough for a LeBron fan because it's going to be a hard ride for the Lakers, but like it's going to be a fun just playing and working for like the playoffs for sure.
Oh yeah, this could be one of the best plans. I think they say it's gonna be one of the most watched plans for since a while.
I could totally see that. Yeah, because usually like the play-ins always has like 1 or 2 teams that are just like pretty weak that just kind of got in there. Usually like the 9 and 10th spot, they're like really not playoff pushing teams, but like each one of these playoff spots this year, like could really go to like the conference final. So it's gonna be pretty hard to bet on for sure. You know, over the past couple of years, like we've been seeing some Mavs Clippers matchups, so I think that's perfectly scripted to how that's lining up. Like that's just I love that, and because like just with Luka and like going against like the Kawhi and PG for a bunch now, he always puts on a show. So it's something like I don't know what kind of rivalry got created there, but I hope that matchup stays how it is and doesn't move in the standings because that'd be good to see.
Okay, another playoff team, the Knicks and Magic. Okay, so Magic is playing really good recently. Like they were not doing good in the first start of the season, but Paul Van has been picking up first team, and they have gotten to the 5th seed now.
That could be a really cool underdog in the playoffs. I think still teams like that, like the Magic, like OKC, they're very good. Like they got some like good young guys like taking like the lead. But I would love to see them make a playoff run. But I think they're just almost not there yet. Like they could make it past. I feel like they're like 2nd-round teams still, just because like of experience. But I think like it's awesome to see because like a guy like him, you could totally see him like being a superstar in the league and like making finals appearances back to back for sure in years to come. So it's good to see.
Yeah, it's good to see the Orlando Magic picking it up, because they've been good for like a couple of years, right? And to see Paolo Banchero kind of carry that team and shift it into a playoff team now. It's nice to see younger teams now picking it up and getting a chance to shine in the playoff moments. Same thing with the Knicks now. The Knicks are versing the Magic in the first round, and they tell you they got Jacob Toppin, they got Josh Hart, they got OG now, but OG is a really good shooter. He's a really good offensive player. Like, I feel like this team will also go to like a game 5 or game 6 or like very close clutch. They won't get swept or anything. I think it'll be like a really tense game.
I think like every matchup we've said have been like just like perfectly aligned for each other. Like the Knicks and Orlando, like both 2 teams that like are trying to like start making playoff runs again. And I think they're both like pretty evenly like in the standings and like how their games have been. So I think like it's really lining up for like there's like that we really haven't said a series yet that's like a guaranteed like blowout, right? Like sweep four in a row. And I think all these teams, especially the Knicks and Orlando, are like 6 at least game series. So like that's good to see coming into it.
So we don't have teams that are going blowout yet, right? But just like
Yeah.
we see teams that are evenly matched up, and that can like could be a really tense first round. Same thing with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They were first seed. They are third seed now. I feel like they can come back and go first seed. They have 2 more weeks until the play-ins start. But they're reversing right now. They're reversing the Pelicans right now in the first round. I feel like the Pelicans and Timberwolves can be a clutch game, depending on what happens on Towns. If Towns comes back, if Towns is healthy enough to come back, then the Timberwolves, I can assure you that they can take down the Pelicans, no problem, if they have Towns in their lineup.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Anthony Edwards has been playing really good recently. Like
Mhm.
he's been like the superstar for the Timberwolves, and I feel like later on in the future, if he progresses and stays healthy, like he can be a really good all-time player one of these days.
100%. You know what? He's a good, like, still young guy in the league, and I could totally see him like being the face of the league when, like, he's got the personality, he's got like the social media presence. Like, I would love to see the Timberwolves make a run, and I'm a bit sad how Karl Anthony Towns is injured because they were doing so good, and they're still doing good. So that tells you that they could steal the series without him. But fingers crossed he comes back, because that could be they're having a good year, and they've been working to finally make a playoff push.
Indiana is 6th seed right now versus the 3rd seed Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are pretty good too. Like I feel like that team might go to like a 7th or 6th round. Like, what do you think about
Yeah.
that one?
I mean, like, it's hard to have like a really like who's gonna win it, but I
Yeah,
mean, the Pacers have been kind of like had such a hot start at the beginning of the season, and they've been kind of letting it slip a bit. So if they can get back into that groove, which I totally see they could now with like Siakam's been playing great too. It seems like a good fit. Like if they could get it kind of rolling more in the playoffs, like I think they could definitely be like a Western Conference team. But with that being said, like they have kind of after the All-Star break been kind of going down a bit. And the Cavs, they're pretty good. So
yeah,
it's
they're
tough,
pretty
but
good.
I do see the Pacers taking the series for sure. I would be so surprised to see them go in the first round, but definitely not to take lightly. I could see an upset there on that.
Yeah, it could be going down to the last wire because pretty stacked the Cavaliers, right? And they got really good shooting guards, and they got really offensive, defensive players that can really clutch up for them in the time of need.
100%, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like whoever versus like the Bucks, like gonna is gonna be in for it, right? Like if the Heat win and take Sixers off and go into the 7th seed versus the Bucks, then that might be a close game too. Because 2nd seed Bucks are pretty good this year too with Damian Lillard now. Damian Lillard has been playing really good for the Bucks. I feel like it's a nice transition for him because now the Bucks have an actual shooter now. Like they got Giannis for defensive and dunking, right? And they got Damian Lillard now for shooting. I feel like the Bucks will get to like 3rd round, 4th round.
For sure, yeah. If the Bucks would lose early on, I would think that'd be a huge failure on them. Like making the move for Lillard this year too. Like they're definitely expecting a conference finals, especially after the poor performance last year in the playoffs. So I think really this is a big year for the Bucks. Like they've been trying at it and adding new additions. Like I really hope they make it work. And so the Bucks and Celtics would be opposite sides of the bracket. Then that's who would line up in the conference finals, right?
Yeah,
That's what everyone wants to see, of course. Like that would be a great Eastern Conference final, and I think that's what I kind of expected at the beginning of the season. So I hope the Bucks do it and they get there, so we can see that like years to come rematch. But I'd be very surprised if the Bucks got out early, like you said. They're definitely a Western Conference round team.
yeah. I can't see them going now, if you're honest, and Lillard, and they're playing at their best. But it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to tell now who's gonna win the first round. That's why I'm just kind of getting my predictions in. But I feel like my predictions are not far off.
No, yeah, I think like there's a lot of close ones, but I feel like there's each one you kind of know the team that has that final edge that like are probably gonna take it in the 6 or 7.
Yeah, because you never know now, right? Because the Rockets they're 11th seed. They might take out the Golden State Warriors, and the Rockets are gonna have to verse the Lakers.
Okay, that was a good talk today. I do have to get going, but I'm excited to see, and I'm excited to get down with you after.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, take care, man. Good talking to you.